time I hear one of those right-wing guys in Washington talking about Hollywood being the home of the liberal elite, I look out my window, I see a man in the filthiest Elmo costume imaginable, surrounded by a bunch of children from West Virginia on spring break, and I think, that is us all right. There's glamour as far as the eye can see. In our nation's capital, there are conclusions being drawn about whether our crazy ex-president committed crimes while in office related to the attacks on January 6th. The House Select Committee that's looking into this say they have enough evidence to refer Trump's crimes to the Department of Justice, but they're hesitant to do that because they don't want it to seem politically motivated. The committee is concerned that if Attorney General Merrick Garland decides to prosecute, Republicans will call the prosecution a partisan witch hunt. I don't think they would do that, right? I mean, pretty sure that Titanic has sailed already. Anytime any of them get accused of anything, it's a witch hunt. Liz Cheney of Wyoming said it's absolutely clear that Trump knew what he was doing and that what he was doing was unlawful. The one time he knew what he was doing was that. So why not refer it to the Justice Department? If you're worried about the optics of prosecuting, why do the investigation in the first place? How does this guy keep getting away with this? He's the presidential equivalent of the Tinder swindler. They could at least ban him from the Oscars for 10 years, right? Meanwhile, the annoying orange is out and about. He headlined a rally in Selma, North Carolina on Saturday. The local newspaper estimated the crowd at between 1,000 and 2,000 fans, which is interesting because in 2016, he drew a crowd of more than 15,000 people at the same venue, sad. And one of the lower-rent right-wing news networks was on the scene, RSBN. They tried to chalk up the lack of attendance to the high cost of travel lately.
What does it typically cost you guys to drive across the country? I'm just curious, like how much of your own money, obviously your own money that you've invested to do this?
So this is my 45th Trump rally. I probably invested $30,000 of my own money coming here. But I can tell you in the last year, it's been worse. It's been worse. The flights are double. The rent-a-cars are double. Gas is almost $4 a gallon all along the East Coast. It's getting ridiculous.
The man wearing 3 hats says it's getting ridiculous. And that's when you know it is getting ridiculous. So then Trump takes the stage and goes right into his "a friend of mine told me" routine.
A friend of mine, smart guy, very successful guy, a lot of common sense. He said, you've been investigated for years and years, millions and millions of pages of documents. They found nothing. You are the cleanest guy on earth. When you think about it, I've got to be the cleanest sheriff. I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps, that God ever created, perhaps.
I wonder if he noticed half the crowd laughed at that. It was a good one, Donald. You lie and we love it. We eat it up. Also during the rally, Trump endorsed Dr. Oz, who's running for Senate 500 miles away in Pennsylvania. He said, Dr. Oz is a great guy, good man. When you're in television for 18 years, that's like a poll. That means people like you. Oh, thank you. That's nice. Trump also said women in particular are drawn to Dr. Oz for his advice and counsel. I've seen this many times over the years. Translations, Ivanka once asked Dr. Oz about a UTI at Mar-a-Lago. That's what that means. Trump's racked up quite a roster of endorsees. Dr. Oz, Herschel Walker, Sarah Palin. His goal is to turn Congress into the Celebrity Apprentice. And on top of all the rallies he's doing and the ill-advised endorsements he's giving, Trump took time to record a message for one of his bigliest supporters this weekend.
I know you're having a great time at the Kid Rock concert tonight. Quite frankly, he's amazing. All of you in attendance are the true backbone of our great country. Hardworking, God-fearing, rock and roll patriots. Bob is truly one of the greatest entertainers of our time. Let's all continue to love one another, fight for our God-given freedoms, and most of all, let's make America rock again.
He's rocking all right. I'd like to ask him to name one Kid Rock song. YMCA? I don't know. But the most important Trump moment of the weekend was from an interview he did over the summer in which he talks about a deal that went sideways, a deal he allegedly made with the president of South Korea.
I said to him, you got to pay $5 billion. He said, no. We had a deal. He was going to pay $5 billion. $5 billion a year. But when I didn't win the election, he had to be the happiest.
Wait, what was that you said?
When I didn't win the election,
That's not, we must have heard that incorrectly.
I didn't win the election.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. All you have to do is get him alone before he's had his morning box of waffles and Diet Coke, and the truth slips right out of his mouth. One more time, just so we...
I didn't win the election.
Yes. Good for him. Put that on a hat. And tell Don Jr. We're learning more about the prodigal son's efforts to overturn the results of the election. Even before the election had officially been called for Joe Biden, CNN got their hands on text messages between Don Jr. and Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff. These from November 5th, 2020. DJ TJ sent Meadows a number of ideas of how to win the election they lost. He said, "We have multiple paths. We control them all." He would have texted his dad directly, but apparently Trump didn't add him to the family plan. So, whereas Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, while Madeline is screaming about Hunter Biden, Jared's private equity firm scored a $2 billion investment from a fund headed by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. You know the guy who ordered the murder of the journalist from the Washington Post? Well, Jared's in charge of investing his money now. All 4 members of the fund's screening committee voted against Jared's firm. They cited inexperience, excessive management fees, and the fact that they found their operation to be unsatisfactory in all aspects. But Jared got the money anyway, which amounts to $25 million a year in fees, because the prince was like, guys, when I had that journalist chopped up, who was the only dummy to stand by me? Jared. $2 billion is the least we can do. And they did it. Jared Kushner is like Anna Delvey if someone had actually sent her that wire transfer. Next season on Inventing Ivanka, we meet Jared. Never trust a guy named Jared. That's that. Meanwhile, I had a whole thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Temple of Dumb this weekend. You know, you may have heard the Congress monster was not happy about a comment I made about her on the show. She even called the cops on me. She wants me, she would like arrested, but the people who attacked the Capitol, it's time to drop that already.
You know what I think? I think the American people are fed up with this over-dramatization of a riot that happened here at the Capitol one time.
Right. It's one time. Hey, if it happens again, we'll look at it. I feel like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a phenomenon that could have been prevented with a high enough dose of Valtrex, but she appeared on a podcast hosted by the disgraced but still going Congressman Matt Gaetz, who joined forces with the Green Goblin to complain about me.
Jimmy Kimmel is a total jerk.
Okay. Go on.
Jimmy Kimmel is a total jerk. And it seems that his trend is to attack women, which is particularly troubling.
Says the guy who's currently under federal investigation for sex trafficking, obstructing justice, and paying for sex with a 17-year-old girl. But keep going. I want to see where this is headed.
His critiques of particularly you and our colleague Lauren Boebert are highly gendered critiques, right? Because he's, oh, you're a Klan mom, right? So like he's attacking you as a mom and as a woman, and then he attacks Lauren Boebert and says, oh, she looks like stepmom porn. See how he does that?
No, that's not fair at all. I make jokes about men, too. I make jokes about you. And if I remember when I said I feel bad for you because you didn't have a girlfriend in high school until you were 30? Remember when I said your political background will come in handy when you're a registered sex offender because you're used to knocking on strangers' doors to introduce yourself? You remember those things. Apology accepted, Matt. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Click below to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you want to be that way about it, don't.